have enough water for both humans and animals. So we need to share, but we're like taking up the water, and if the animals don't have their water, like Audrey said, they won't have a habitat like we won't, and also
Audrey, I think when they built the Del Monte Hotel, they probably thought there was fresh water was unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
They have as much as they want, and maybe in your generation, it'll be your generation that sort of refigures it out. There's a lot of that going on now, Angelina, like with the San Clemente Dam. The San Clemente Dam is coming down, but people are really aware of the wildlife too. So how can you live with nature and everybody profits? And maybe that's part of the desal formula, is that if there's a drought, we still have water. We still have a source of water. Maybe not all the time, but if we need it, like this year, maybe it's there. Oh?
When I think of our social idea, I kind of think it has like a couple meanings. One is how it says the uneven distribution of water as a resource is a problem that requires shared solutions. And one meaning is like just naturally, like either globally or just in the United States, like in this country, like just like how like there's rain in one part, but it's like a desert in the other, and there's rainforest, and then there's cities, and it's all mixed up. Like, why can't it just rain equally the whole time? But it can't. In like for the shared solutions, desalination is one of those shared solutions for naturally, like how it rains, and for, as we were talking about, like humans, like why can't we equally share the water, and why do some people get more than others?
If you look at all humans as a family, it's not fair, is it?
Yeah.
That some have access to clean water, some don't.
Yeah. I'm thinking that like it's the water is uneven just by where the water is, because there's a lot of like lakes and rivers and like places by beaches that get a lot of water, but also there's some places right in the middle of like nowhere. Well, not technically nowhere, but in the middle of lots of states with beaches and stuff, and they don't have as much water because they don't have access to any clean water. And because of that, people like fight over the water, and they need and like it says in the central idea, to solve that problem, it needs shared solutions. So all the people have to agree on a solution that would get them an even amount of water without fighting over it. And so there are a lot of solutions that have been already developed, like desalination and gray water.
There's a lot of other innovative solutions that are out there. If you look up at the map of the United States, you look at the Northeast, see the large lakes there, they're called the Great Lakes? Those are all frozen over right now. I just heard this on the weather last night. It's a rare year. Look, those lakes are frozen over, almost entirely frozen over. It's unusual because it's been so cold. They were saying that the levels of those lakes has been low lately, but with the winter they've had, the cold weather, they're frozen over. The levels are expected to go up again. So, Aiden, it happens to be they happen to be there. It happens to be that it was a very wet year for them.
Yeah.
But if you look down our corner, it was not so much.
There's a lot of ways, but what I think of it is that we're using too much water, and in Africa and all those other places, they're not using any water. Well, because of course they don't have sewage treatment or any way to get clean water, and we can't, even though we're in a drought, and we're using too much water, even if because we're in the drought. And I even saw that there's like 2 shower heads in my bathroom now, instead of 1, so we're using double the amount of gallons of water, and I don't know why.
People need to use water no matter where you live.
Yeah,
and I think we're used to using it as if it's unlimited. But if you're living in a village, Africa, you're using a bucket of water. And so you're limited, your shower is limited to a bucket of water.
And they don't even have a shower.
Which is no big deal.
So
taking a bucket bath, if you go camping or you enjoy that, that's something that's part of life.
So I told my mom to just turn off one of the shower heads so I could only use one.
Interesting experiment. some of you might be interested in this. Take a bucket into the shower. Take a shower and bathe yourself with 1 bucket of water, with 1 gallon of water. See how hard that would be. Probably you'd find it's no big deal. Marco?
So when I hear uneven distribution, I think of like just in Monterey County, different jobs use different amounts of water, and it's sort of uneven. Like agriculture uses a lot more water than other jobs, and so I'm sure I bet a lot of our water goes to agriculture and farming, and then we have other jobs that don't use as much, and we don't use as much.
Mrs. Walsh was telling me that there's someplace on the internet where it tells you how much water it takes to create 1 bottle of wine, or how much water it takes you go to the store, 1 box of strawberries.
Golf fields, those golf courses, they use a lot of water.
But you'll learn from Shrivats, they're doing some really interesting things now in this county. They're not just taking the same as our water. They have other ways of using water that's gray, for example. But we'll have to wait for his project. So,
sort of like Audrey was saying, but it's like not between ocean and river, it's between humans and rivers. Like, we're taking water out of the river, which is one reason there's like the river is running dry. So, like you see the river, and it's like completely dry, and then our homes have lots of water. Like in the video, there's steelhead, little baby steelhead trapped in puddles.
right, isolated pools.
Yeah, and also like in the lagoon that we went to, the water is really low, so the steelhead can't like get back and forth from the ocean to the lagoon. And we have like so much water, like we take showers a lot,
Right.
and baths, and we use water to water our gardens and farms, and we use it for drinking and food.
Yeah, I wish that we could magically lift up every steelhead that's in the lagoon. So you could just see how many hundreds, are there thousands, are there hundreds of thousands? Just to kind of see, you go like, oh my gosh, or go turn offshore and how many adult steelhead are offshore there. Just sort of lift them up out of the water and see how many are sitting there waiting. Was she?
I thought of something else. Alex gave me the idea. I kind of thought that with all the rain that we can get, and sometimes, like say Seattle has lots and lots of rain every year. But like in Africa, they have hardly any. Like in
Depends
Africa
on where you are.
and the deserts and stuff, they hardly have any rain every year. So that's also an uneven distribution of water.
Most definitely. There are parts of Africa that have a ton of rain. There's parts of the United States that get rain every year regularly. Jillian, did you want to add something?
Yes.
Why don't you come over here a little bit closer and we'll finish up with you. What did you want to say?
I have to say, on World Mapper, I was checking like some things about drought, and I found this interesting thing about like people get killed by drought.
Death as a result of drought or flood.
So I checked Africa is the most, it's big, like Japan is little, and so is the United States.
So what does that tell you?
It tells me that Africa, like South Africa actually, and like all those other countries, they actually have they're in a drought, and like they have very little water, and their very little water is polluted, and they can't use it for crops, food, and
But just so you know, Julian, there's a lot of innovation going on. There's a lot of innovation because they have water. How do they get it so that it's clean enough to drink? There's parts of the United States that have similar kinds of problems.